And now for our feature presentation.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series.
Watson, touchdown! Hunter Renfrow.
He got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship. And South Carolina has won the national championship.
The Citadel baseball team has done it again, but this time the Bulldogs beat one of the top teams in the country. They are giant killers. Get the ball to Bennett. He does.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
All right, greetings and a good dreary Tuesday afternoon, and welcome aboard the JB Goldwater Show, live out and online, and very proudly presented by Motley Rice. Causes not just cases. MotleyRice.com, driven by Stokes Volkswagen. Find them at StokesVW.com. Make sure that you've downloaded the JB and Goldwater app. I got a notification earlier that the Google Play Store is up and running. But I have been so busy this week, I have not been able to confirm that with the app company. So if you have a Droid and you can download it and access our app fully, and send a note our way because we're kind of doing this little half, you know what, not really, but I just haven't had a chance, and I just got the notification a little bit ago. So hopefully that's out there and we're rocking and rolling. If you have an iPhone, the app has been up for a few days. We encourage you to download it. It's absolutely free. You can watch and listen to our program right there in the app. You can send us a comment in there as well. You can get push notifications like the one that we sent out earlier today, and the fact that coming up here in about 7 minutes, we'll be joined by College of Charleston head baseball coach Chad Holbrook as we kick off our preseason previews of some of our in-state programs. So certainly looking forward to getting to him. And then we also have coming up at about 1:20 this afternoon, Pat DiMarco, Talkin Ball with Pat DiMarco of the South Carolina Gamecock football program. So we've got a couple of other things on the agenda. Clearly tonight is a big one for Carolina basketball. They will welcome the Kentucky Wildcats to town, and it will be a major shocker if they could pull an upset. Although the last two trips that UK has made to Colonial Life Arena, Carolina has won both of those games. One of them was a buzzer beater a couple of years ago that Jermaine Cousinard's banked in, basically, and that was called by Mike Morgan, if any of you remember it. Tonight, he won't be calling the game, but it will be on ESPN, nationally televised at 7 o'clock. Of course, Derek and Casey will have it on the Gamecock Radio Network coming up at 6:30 airtime, 7 o'clock tip, Colonial Life Arena. So we'll give you a preview of that. It is a good night in hoops. We're going to get to a lot of hoop stuff today. We will keep an update, or keep an eye on, I should say, the Brian Harsin situation. If anything changes over there on the Plains, thus far, Nothing has changed, just a couple of bogus statements the last couple of days from the university, Darren. So not really much on that end, but that's kind of where it stands. Make sure that you follow us on social media at JB and Goldwater, individually at Sports Media JB and at Darren Goldwater. You can head to jbandgoldwatershow.com as well. Share Healthcare chat lines are open. Hey, props to all of you out there who watch or listen to our program that have taken care of your families through Share Healthcare. I got a great call this morning from Share Healthcare, and they're national, but their corporate offices are out of, well, they're not a corporate company. It's a non-for-profit, but they're out of Ohio, and they called this morning raving about the results they're getting in the state of South Carolina and around it. So many of you have taken advantage of the wonderful care that they offer, and that is awesome. So thank you for taking care of our people who obviously in return are taking care of you. All right, Darren, I've rambled on enough. Good afternoon.
I'm looking forward to today. We're going to get pretty deep into the Kentucky and Carolina game, and Duke and North Carolina as well. I texted Jamie earlier. The number's a good number. I can make a case, a stronger one, I think, for Kentucky than for South Carolina, but I can make a case for South Carolina covering that spread. I'm not going to make a case for them winning the game, but I can make a case for them getting inside of 11. And the Clemson-North Carolina thing is very, very interesting. Clemson's not the team that they used to be, that you think about under Brad Brownell with defense and lockdown. They're not very good defensively, but they're very good offensively, and so is North Carolina. That game is a 1.5 point line right now in favor of Clemson. It's at Little John, so we'll get into that as well.
Yep.
This night, I texted a group of my buddies this morning. This feels like a mini Saturday to me. There are so many good games on. I'll be up late into the night and keep the train rolling. Go Pokes, baby. I'm on them again.
I'll pass word to my in-laws in Laramie. They'll enjoy the shout-outs we're getting from the East Coast. Yeah, the Clemson-North Carolina game is very intriguing. For those, if you've looked at the schedule, I think they might have updated it now, but originally when they had released the schedule a couple of months ago, or a few months ago, I should say, it was announced as a 9 o'clock tip. It's a 6 o'clock tip on the ACC network tonight at Little John. So, yeah, it's both Carolina and Clemson have blue bloods coming into their gym on a Tuesday evening. Enormous opportunities. Carolina's contest is going to be much more difficult, I think, than Clemson's. North Carolina certainly is not Kentucky in what they've done thus far this year, but nonetheless, they're both unbelievable challenges, and we'll see if one or both or neither can pull off some type of big win tonight. It wouldn't be an upset for Clemson because they're favored.
Yep.
But in the minds generally of any Tiger fan or anybody out there who follows college basketball, if you beat North Carolina in general, it's an upset. If you beat Kentucky in general, it's an upset. They don't care about point spreads and stuff like that. They just know logos. Kansas, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, they're never supposed to lose. So if you beat them, it's an upset. So tonight, I'll go on that side of it for Tiger fans and Gamecock fans. If you happen to nip them, the heels or the Cats, there you go. It would be an upset for South Carolina, no doubt. But for Clemson, even though you're favored, I'll give it to you. It would be an upset. How about that?
I'll give you this. Clemson all time has beaten North Carolina 22 times. They have never beaten them 3 straight. They beat them tonight, it'll be their 3rd straight. So I will not jump on the it'll be an upset line because I'm really anal about that. It will not be an upset, but it'll be huge for Clemson. When North Carolina has lost this year, they've gotten clobbered. My question is, can Clemson score at that pace? They're very, very good offensively. But in a higher scoring game, can they score at that pace? That's my question that I'll get more into in that game.
Yeah, it's 3 is the number because if you mentioned if they can beat them, it'll be their 3rd straight win. And then in Columbia, if Carolina can beat Kentucky, it'll be their 3rd straight win against Kentucky in Colonial Life Arena. So certainly looking forward to catching some hoops tonight. It is a really good slate. And we're going to come back to all of that in just a little while in our program. Again, Pat DiMarco is ahead at 1:20 this afternoon. Talkin Ball with Pat DiMarco of the Gamecocks. We'll get his thoughts on a couple of things. Obviously, a couple of his good buddies have exited the program for other opportunity in Connor Shaw and Eric Kimry. And we'll talk to him about both of them and what is next for those guys. and then certainly his role in the program. And, I'll even ask Pat about something that has been irking me for the last few days, the Pro Bowl, because they play it. I don't know why, but they do. Pat was a Pro Bowler, and we'll talk to him about that, get a Super Bowl preview and all that stuff. You'll love that conversation. But first and foremost, for those that have not paid attention, we're 10 days away from the most beautiful time of the year. It is college baseball season, at least at the Division I level, set to go next Friday. And this guy is just one of my favorite people on earth. He is the head baseball coach of the College of Charleston Cougars, and we're lucky to have him. He is Chad Holbrook. What's up, man?
What's going on? I appreciate you guys having me on today.
Oh, man, it's good to talk to you. I know you're fired up because it's that time of year. Everybody starts to get the goosebumps and the shakes and stuff like that. What's been going on with y'all getting ready to go, man? How's it going?
Yeah, we've been practicing for a long time now, it seems, going back to first day of class in the fall and having a good fall season, and a lot of hours in the weight room, a lot of hours on the field, and it's time to see a different color uniform, I guess. And luckily that's right around the corner, and we'll all crank it up next Friday, and it's actually been fun watching and following some Division II and junior college programs already playing. So college baseball is upon us, and we can't wait to get cranked up.
Yeah, there's no question, man. Darren corrected me on that last week. I said, hey, college baseball is about to start up. He goes, yeah, well, JUCO's been playing, D2's playing, all those guys. Hey, look, you know that I spent a couple years in JUCO. I remember those cold late Januaries and early Februaries. Boy, I don't miss anything about that at all.
It's been really, really cold out here on Patriots Point. I don't know what it is, and the temperature that says 50 degrees, but when that wind's blowing off that water, it's about 35. It feels. My old self can't take it much more. It's just been brutal. But luckily, it looks like we got some sunshine coming this week, and have a good set of scrimmages this weekend, and heck, the long range forecast, if it's right, I don't know, Jamie, if you've even looked at it, but the long range forecast says for opening day 77 degrees. So
no way.
It'll stay the course.
It's never warm on opening day. Ever. It's never warm.
Maybe we buck the trend. Maybe we buck it. It'll be that would be a cool sight to watch our team take the field and not have to have turtlenecks on and sleeves and heaters on in the dugout and all that stuff. That'll be a lot of fun.
I was about to say, yeah, dude, you know how this works, man. The baseball gods, and for those, by the way, that don't believe in the baseball gods, I got news for you. They exist, and they always tease you. You get the tease, right? About a week before first pitch. Oh man, it's 60 degrees, it's sunny, and then first pitch comes and it's about 30, 35. Wind blows. It's cloudy, not even sun. Yeah, none of that. All right, hey, look. Before we get to the baseball team that you're coaching, I want to ask you about your son, Reese. Reese he's a freshman now up at North Carolina, and set to go in his first college baseball season. Man, how's he doing? How's he fitting in up there? I know you talk to him often, so what's going on with him?
He's doing well. He's improved a lot. It was it was great to have him for, I guess, 6 weeks or so over the winter break. And obviously we got to work out every day together. And, as a dad and for a dad, that's a lot of fun, to be able to go to the field and with your two boys. And, and Reese is a lot stronger and improved a lot. Those college programs, and they have a way of making you improve, or if you don't, your time there is going to be short-lived. He's worked hard, and he was a different player when we worked him out some this winter, and he's up there like most freshmen, fighting for their chance, fighting for their opportunity. And they got some older guys that have played extremely well in front of him, but he's going to have his opportunities, and I think he's in a great place. He plays for some great coaches, and I feel certain that at some point in time, it's tough as a freshman, but at some point in time, he'll be able to make his mark and contribute to that program on the field, and that'll be really cool for Dad to see.
How cool is it for Dad to see him in that uniform regardless?
Yeah.
It's been I can almost get emotional about it, not necessarily because of the uniform, just because I've we've been there every step of the journey of what he's been through. And, it's when you're diagnosed with cancer at 2 years old, and the doctor said you got about 2 weeks to live, and you know, from the earth shaking and hearing that news to all of a sudden beating the odds and putting on a Tar Heel jersey and playing Division I baseball. And it's been a heck of a ride, and I'm very, very happy for him. And it's been a lot of fun to follow him every step of the way. And it's been a cool ride, cool story, and we couldn't be prouder.
Absolutely. I know you and Jennifer are just ecstatic, but I mean, but Coach, there's gotta be a piece of you that's a little frustrated that you couldn't out recruit Scott Forbes for your own kid, right?
I didn't try. I like my kids against Coach Forbes, even though, you know, if we were, but you know, the dad thing, the blood thing, that's a strong bond. But I think, you know, for Reese, you know, it was best for him to spread his wings and be coached by somebody else. I got to be his coach, you know, for 18 years. And that was cool. And, but he's heard enough of the same voice for the longest period of time. And I think it's best for him to hear somebody else's voice. And I'm just going to be a fan from here on out. And it's going to be cool. If he wants some advice here or there and ask me, I will, you know, I'll be happy to give it to him, but I'm just going to pat him on the rear end and tell him to go get him and be his biggest fan.
Chad Holbrook, head baseball coach at the College of Charleston. Cooper set for his senior year as well, and then he's off to Nashville to play for Tim Corbin and the Commodores. What are you most excited about seeing as he wraps up his final year of high school baseball?
Well, like Reese, he's worked extremely hard, and he's had some setbacks, not as publicly known as Reese's, but he's had his own fair share of health issues that he's had to overcome, and he's obviously playing for one of my favorite people. We'll be going to play for one of my favorite people in college baseball, and Tim Corbin, and you know, and going to a great school like Vanderbilt. And if he can just keep his nose clean and keep working hard, that school and that program has a way of providing opportunities for you, whether it's on the field or off. And so we couldn't be happier for Coop as well. And he's got some work in front of him to do. He's one of those kids that's got a really high ceiling and has that word projectability we all hear about. But as long as he keeps working and he can tap into that potential, he can be able to make his mark on the field as well. And it's kind of cool. But, you know, one of the neat things for me and for Jen is those are really, really great baseball programs. They're great people that run those programs, and they're great institutions in which they attend. And it's setting them up for a pretty cool future. And for that, we're ecstatic and we're happy.
You mentioned your wife. She's now a Hall of Famer at Hammond. She just announced a few weeks ago. So like, what have you done this year?
Damn it! I mean, it's time to get on the field. You know, it's I've been the biggest supporters, and Jen was a heck of a competitor and a heck of a player, and you know, I got that we've known each other so dang long. I got to witness some of that, and that was cool. I got to see her play in high school. I got to see her play at Presbyterian College, and you know, she was a heck of a competitor and a heck of an athlete in her own right. And I think our boys get some of that competitiveness from her. There's no doubt about it. She was a fiery thing, and she was quick to throw an elbow or two or hip check somebody out of into the front row. She was. I love to watch her play, and it was really cool. You know, again, a really cool school. Hammond's done a lot for our family. Been a lot for our family. Both my kids went there, and obviously, it's kind of cool for mom, for her two kids to go to mom's school and win their own state championships. You know, mom got to win the state championship as a women's basketball player and softball player, but you know, for her to watch her two kids go win state championships in baseball at her school, that was kind of cool deal. And it's been an eventful couple of weeks for the Holbrook family for sure.
Yeah, there's no question, man. No question about it. And by the way, a little side note to all this, we're sitting here talking about the weather and it being cold. And our bud Patrick Davis is down there in the Bahamas at Hopetown. So, PD, if you've downloaded the new app and you for some reason are watching us on a boat while you're sipping your whiskey jam, enjoy the weather for everybody.
Yeah, my favorite people are down there, you know. And there's a couple things on my bucket list when I get done coaching baseball. It's going to be I'm gonna be on that spring trip to Sip Town, you know, to Hopetown in the Bahamas for the. Yeah, that's just gonna. Patrick bugs me about it all the time and wants me to come down there, but unfortunately, I have to coach a team, you know. But one day when I hang them up, I'm gonna joining a lot of Patrick and his friends down there. Some of my favorite people down there. Patrick and Lauren are terrific at what they do. And
yep.
Chris Galbuta, man, what a talented guy. He's down there. Incredible songwriter. They got to play in my backyard this fall. And man, if you want to YouTube some good music, YouTube Chris Galbuta and listen to him pick the guitar and sing some songs, man. It's some awesome stuff.
I'll do that when we get off the air, but next time he comes to town, how about a text, man? How about just give me a heads up?
Yeah, man. We'll sit in the backyard and smoke a cigar with the best of them. And
there you go.
I'm telling you, Chris Galbuta and Patrick, these guys are incredible. And it's really cool to when songwriters to see what songs they've written that other people play. Heck, yeah. Chris can perform on it as good as anybody, but it's really, really cool to see that. And we got some incredible songwriters here in town. Wyatt Durrett lives in Isle of Palms, lives at IOP. I mean, he's written 17 number one songs, and he's just a stone's throw from Patriots Point. And I'm a big music fan, as you can probably tell, and it's really, really cool to rub elbows with some of those guys and pick their brain about how they got started in the songwriting business and see how talented they are. It's just incredible.
Well, I met I know I just keep pushing baseball off, Coach, like it's not important, but when I was up for Patrick's show before the Clemson Carolina game, I met Blake Weinbach for the first time, and I know you know Blake well, and he knows your kids real well, and obviously Patrick's been helping him do some things, and he was doing merch and stuff like that for PD, and so we sat there and thought, what a great kid. He's got a future probably as well in music. I know he's writing some songs and trying to keep sticking his neck out there. So, I referenced you. I kind of told him who I was and how I knew about him. Nothing crazy, but great kid. Just figured we'd give him a shout out here.
Great kid. And he just bought my dang guitar from me. And I miss that guitar, but you know what? I mean, he'd come to the house a lot and play some songs and, share some ideas with us and, run some of his songs that he was writing past us. And it was kind of cool. And he'd always do it playing my guitar. And I think he fell in love with it and he had to have it and couldn't give it to a better kid. And I know that sucker will be played for a long period of time and it's in good hands with Blake. What a great kid. And he's got a bright future in front of him, no doubt.
All right. Speaking of bright futures, I know that the 2022 Cougars are hoping to have one. It starts at 1:00 at Patriots Point next Friday. Wagner is in town for a 3-game series, and then you'll hit the road to see Monty and the Clemson Tigers up there on Tuesday, February the 22nd. That's what it looks like to crank it up here early in the season, Coach. So I'm gonna give you the floor and act like I know nothing, which, to be honest with you, I don't know much because I haven't talked to you here in the preseason. So take us around the diamond and fill us in. What do the Cougars look like?
Well, I mean, the good thing is we have some experience, and we got the majority of our pitching staff is back, and I couldn't be more excited about those guys. And we feel good about our starters. We feel good about the depth of our bullpen, which we've been a little bit thin the last couple of years in the bullpen with who we could count on. When you play consecutive days, and baseball is one of those things you have to have some depth on the mound. I feel good about our depth this year. And I feel good about the experience from, who we're returning, from Trotter Harlan and Joseph Mershon are been two staples for us for the last 2 years. And they're much improved players. And I think they're going to have terrific seasons. And our catcher's back, Jared Curvin, but we also, added a couple junior college players and from Florence Darlington Tech, our third baseman will be a middle lineup hitter named Luke Wood. And a catcher, first baseman, DH type, JT Marr, and they're both accomplished players that played in the Junior College World Series last year and put up really impressive numbers. So I think they're going to add some pop to our team. We don't know. I mean, obviously we look good on paper. I think our team's going to be extremely competitive, and we're going to be able to win our fair share. But you don't play the game on paper. You got to go out there and play. And hopefully, collectively as a group, we can put together a special season and a special year. It's going to take us all, but we feel like we have the talent to do it. We got I think right now, next Friday, we'll start a kid named Kai Good from Rock Hill, South Carolina, and he's been an impressive pitcher here. And he's got a chance to be a pretty darn good draft pick this spring, and we feel like he's a all conference, all American type kid, and worked really, really hard. And then on Saturday right now, the way it's kind of lined up is we'll start a kid from Daniel Allen named Daniel Brooks, who, JB, is probably one of the more talented pitchers I've ever been around. And I'm including, my stints at North Carolina and South Carolina. He's, and when I say ability, I mean talent. Talent doesn't necessarily mean where he is today. He's got work to do, but from a talent standpoint, ability standpoint, physical strength standpoint, stuff on his pitches, command of his pitches, athletic ability, he's very, very special. And we look forward to seeing him throw. He'll probably throw game 2 Saturday, and heck of an accomplishment for a local kid to be in the weekend rotation right away as a true freshman. But we think he's something special, and we look forward to giving him the ball in game 2, and look forward to watching him pitch all spring long. So we feel good about this guy. We feel good about our team, and hopefully we'll go out and play the way we're capable of playing.
He's only 6'7", 250 pounds. He's probably can't barely fit through the door in the locker room. Anybody plays for Mike Darnell, I have immense respect for. So this young man is going from 4 years in a BE system to probably maybe just 3 years, Coach. But I'm sure you'd like to have him for 4 at the College of Charleston.
Yeah.
So he's got some good men in charge of what he's doing professionally for a good period of his life. What type of pressure is that on a kid like that? And does he feel it? And I know you've been around this game a long time. You've seen a lot of talented guys who they get into college baseball, they get the ball, their valuable role in the program, and some of them it just can't get over that hump, at least initially. It takes some time. What's it been like for him?
Right. He's been shocking with how well he's done, and I know it's the fall and I know it's spring. We haven't played a game yet, so I don't want to, can't sit here and crown him, like as a first team All-American. He has the potential to be, for sure. He's just a grounded kid that loves life. He loves baseball. Has a very strong faith. It was really cool to see him get baptized this fall, and we have a strong FCA program here that is entrenched in our program. And Daniel's I'm sure there's some pressure that he feels. I mean, there's always pressure when you play athletics. If you don't have some pressure on you when you're on an athletic field, are you doing anything of consequence? I mean, there's pressure. Surely there is. I mean, there's pressure on me. There's pressure on the young kids to perform. I mean, with social media today, everybody knows every pitch they throw and every at bat they take. I mean, they're under the microscope these days, and so I'm sure they feel that. But at the same time, Daniel has a niche about him. He's always smiling, working hard all the time. Yet their utmost respect of his teammates because of his work ethic and because of his faith. And obviously his potential is untapped, and it's going to be fun to watch him grow as a college pitcher. And we're awfully lucky to have him here. I think he has a chance to have a special career, and we're going to be there to support him and help him in any way we can. And I look forward to the city of Charleston and our fans and our donors to be able to watch him pitch and watch all our kids pitch. But Daniel's a local kid that he wanted to be in Charleston, and we couldn't be happier that he is here. And I think he's ready to show folks what he can do. It's been impressive so far.
Coach, for anyone who doesn't know, he went deep into the draft process. There was a lot of buzz around him, and now he's on campus. He's set to be your game 2 starter. What did he learn going through that process? How has he changed and evolved from that process to now?
Well, I think, when we went into the draft, Daniel probably had his, mind, as most young people do, has his mind on the, pitching in a big league stadium and putting on the pinstripes or the, or one of those iconic uniforms that are apparent in Major League Baseball. But, I think what happened with Daniel is he took a deep breath. He realized that, they were talking about him, being a second round draft pick or a sandwich pick or whatever you want to, I hate to say, put that talk on him because it's kind of speculation. It's not really truth, but that's where the scuttlebutt was, right, where he would go. And I think he took a deep breath and said, you know what, I think I can be a first rounder, and I think I can be maybe a top 15 or top 20 pick. And if I go get my education and have fun playing ball, and in 3 years am a top 10 pick, I'm gonna bet on myself.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm gonna do. I think he believes in himself. He believes in his teammates. I mean, he has a chance. I mean, you hate to put a label on a kid. I mean, because I don't think that's fair and that's right. I mean, he could have a very successful career and not be drafted at all. But I will say this. I mean, I've been around Andrew Miller. I mean, I had him in North Carolina, Matt Harvey. I signed Madison Bumgarner and Rick Porcello. And, I mean, those are some Cy Young Award winners and World Series champions. I'll tell you this. I mean, I saw all those guys when they were Daniel's age, especially Matt Harvey and Andrew Miller, because they were freshmen in North Carolina. But he's every bit as talented as those guys. And
Wow.
that doesn't mean he's going to accomplish what they accomplished. That's not fair for me to put that label on Daniel. But the talent and ability is there. So it's we'll see how he continues to, good Lord willing, he stays healthy, keeps working hard, and he stays grounded, and I think he will, because that's the type of kid he is. And we're awfully lucky here at the College of Charleston to have him. He's made a huge impact on our program, and he hasn't even pitched a pitch in a real game yet. And I think that says a lot about the type of kid he is, because freshmen don't do that much. For a freshman to come in, a lot of times you have to earn your stripe on the field. Well, he hasn't pitched in a game yet, but he's already made a huge impact on our program.
Chad Holbrook, head baseball coach at the College of Charleston, but he's going to start Saturday. Ty Good's going to start Friday.
Yeah.
Compare those guys.
I'll start Fridays. Ty's more of a, pitchability, off-speed pitches are probably his best. I mean, he's got an outstanding changeup and an outstanding curveball, but he also has a really good fastball. I mean, he'll run at 90 to 92 miles an hour, and but it makes it, and sometimes in the middle of innings he might go down to 88 to 90. But that 88 to 90 looks a lot harder because his changeup is so good. I mean, he has the same arm speed on his changeup as he does his 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Very difficult for hitters to pick up. If he's commanding the strike zone with his fastball, he's very, very difficult to deal with. Daniel, on the other hand, can just overpower you. I mean, he can run it up there 94 to 96, 95 to 97. But he also has a great breaking ball, and he also has a really good changeup that continues to grow and develop. I don't think he came in here. A lot of times at the high school level, guys that throw that hard don't throw many changeups because that's an advantage to the hitter, so to speak. You're throwing into their bat speed, or you're throwing into their ability level. But as he's gone up in competition, his changeup has gotten pretty darn good, and his breaking ball is very, very impressive. He's another kid that, if he's like most pitchers, but with especially those kind of kids that have overpowering stuff, if he's ahead in the count, he's very difficult to handle. I mean, and knock on wood, so far he's done a great job of working the head in the count. He commands the strike zone very well, which is very rare for a young pitcher that throws that hard. And that's kind of why we're so excited about him. He has first round stuff, for sure. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to perform like that, and that's not fair of me to really say. But I think he'll tell you that as well. I mean, he knows who he is, and he wouldn't want me to sit up here on a radio show and say that he's got average stuff either. I mean, I think he knows that his stuff is elite, and I'm sure he wants his coach to to think a lot of him, and I certainly do.
It's a good point. Yeah, don't throw your Friday night guy under the bus before the season starts publicly, Coach. Let's see what he looks like. All right, so hey, this is that time where you're kind of starting to, if you can, pin things down. But when it comes to the bullpen, that can be a little bit difficult until you see how dudes perform out there in live action. But have you pinned down any additional roles outside of your starters to this point?
We got a young man named William Privet who pitched a lot last year. He beat Clemson at Clemson last year as a freshman. He's pitched in some big games. He pitched really well in the conference tournament. He started some games, and he was in the conversation, to pitch on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But he's one of those kids that wants to throw all the time, and he even said, Coach, I'd like to help us win 3 games a week instead of 1. So, right now we feel good about giving him the ball late in the game. He's another kid that's got a fastball that gets on top of you pretty quick, and he pitches his fastball is his best pitch, and he's got one of those fastballs. You look at the radar gun, and it might be only 89 and 91, but you wonder why everybody swings and misses at it all the time. And it's one of those fastballs. And again, he's quick to the plate. He's a great athlete. He's worked really hard. He's one of our hardest workers and best kids. And so I feel comfortable about giving him the ball late in the game. We got a transfer kid from Old Dominion named Luke Vax. That's had a great fall and got a great breaking ball, and another kid that we could use in the bullpen as well. And I got a local kid. The kid Trey Poozer from Hanahan has pitched some big games last year. I think he beat Alabama. He's won some big games down here, and I think he's in a position to have a decent year too. And we feel good about him. And so right now, to be honest with you, we feel good about our depth, and I don't feel good about what I don't feel good about is where I'm going to put them, and I think that's a pretty cool problem to have, but the coach has got to make a decision and put them in the right spot. And as the games unfold, as you know, roles kind of unfold a lot of times early in the year. And as we get, 8 to 10 games under our belt, I think we'll have a better idea about our specific roles. But right now, knock on wood, we're healthy. We have some good talent, and I look forward to putting them out there and seeing what they can do.
Coach Chad Holbrook at the College of Charleston. We'll get you out of here in just a couple of minutes. We know you've got to get ready for practice and things like that today. Do you have any two-way players, Coach? I feel like everybody's starting to get into these issues. I know South Carolina's got a couple dudes. Monty's got some guys. I think Tony's got some guys that are kind of two-way players, and they're kind of scratching their heads at times, going, I don't know. Should I pitch him? Should I play him here? Do you have any of those guys?
Yeah, we actually do. We have a freshman from South Georgia, a kid named Cole Mathis. And Cole is, has a potential to be a middle of the lineup hitter for us, and as well, one of our bullpen guys is going to throw, 6th, 7th, 8th inning type thing. I mean, he's good. I mean, and he's pitched really, really well in these first several scrimmages that we've had this spring. So, and we feel like he has a chance to be a middle lineup hitter. So, yeah, I mean, he's the one that jumps out at me as far as being a strong two-way guy. And, in college level, I think Monty would tell you this, and every coach, Tony, would tell you this at the Citadel. We just love to coach baseball players, kids that can do more, more power to them. You're only young once, and hey, Daniel Brooks, if you watch him take BP out here, you'd think King Kong's hitting. I mean, he can hit some balls a long, long way. And we don't, when I was at South Carolina, Michael Roth was National Player of the Year as a pitcher, but, he took BP every day. He was recruited to South Carolina as a first baseman. Yeah. So, sometimes those baseball players, want to keep playing baseball and not want to be labeled as as just a pitcher or just as a hitter. If they have the talent to do both, we welcome it. And, we like to coach those guys for sure. And, and it helps you in the limited amount of scholarship numbers that you have, scholarship dollars that you have. Those two-way players go a long way in helping you meet your budget and balance your budget, because that's two players for one, so to speak, on the scholarship scale.
No doubt about it. I'm not going to make your blood boil with the scholarship stuff. You got football trying to get 90 scholarships, and y'all are still scrounging around 11.7. I mentioned to Darren, Coach, a couple of weeks ago. I said, I don't want to hear another word about anybody talking about how to deal with this influx of players that are still in college football and expanding scholarship limits until they talk about figuring out what to do with baseball. I mean, this is a joke, man. Here we are. Everybody's got an angle these days, right, Coach? Everybody is they feel like they've been slighted on this, and nothing's fair here and there. And college baseball is just still waving their hands. Hey, we're still here. We still have 11.5. Nothing.
It seems like we don't get much to go our way, and that's the sad part. From whether or not we're asking for a third assistant coach that could be on salary, we got that struck down. I didn't, nobody. You got some other sports that have 15 players and have 5 coaches, and and 3 of them are full-time assistants. In our sport, we get shut down all the time. We coach them 35 to 40 players, and we can't get a paid assistant coach. It's just frustrating. But that's for another day. I mean, it is what it is, and we have to go with the rules, and we have to go with what we're dealt. And the neat thing about college baseball is this: it does provide incredible opportunities for a lot of coaches and a lot of players. Yep. And ultimately, we get into coaching because we want to help young people, realize some dreams and achieve some things on the field. And there's nothing like a college baseball dugout, as you well know, JB. The camaraderie, the enthusiasm, the energy that you get to have, and the friendships that you make that last a lifetime. There's a lot of great things our sport does, and hopefully one day we'll get some feathers in our cap in regards to the scholarship dollars or paid assistant coaches and that kind of thing. But till then, we're just going to enjoy what we have and go out there and be around some young people and appreciate every day, because we are awfully blessed to get to coach this game of baseball and get to be around young people. And there's nothing like it. There's nothing like being in a dugout of college baseball players trying to win a game. That's really, really cool.
I totally agree, and your comments aren't, as you well know, everybody, but they're shared by everybody. I mean, you, Coach Tanner over the years, Monty, Lamonis, Tony. Everybody I've ever talked to, Dan McDonald. It's like, we don't know what we have to do to improve this. All right, hey, look, before I let you go, as you've told me every year since you've been at the College of Charleston, the CAA, although it doesn't sometimes get a lot of respect nationally, there's always a lot of very talented arms that you're going to run into on Fridays and Saturdays, and so you got to be ready to go every weekend. So certainly that makes things difficult on your guys. But in addition to that, this year you do have Clemson on the schedule again. And then, something caught my attention there in mid-March. Texas, they're going to come play the Gamecocks, and then they're going to come down here, they're going to play y'all, and then they're going to go over and play Tony in the Citadel. And they've scheduled Texas for midweek. That's nice. But then you have East Carolina coming in for a 3-game series. In addition to the fact that Coastal and Clemson and all these other teams are on the list this year, it's tough. It's going to be real tough. And I know that you love that, because at the end of the year, Coach, you're either going to be good enough or you're not. You'll have gone through a schedule that's going to challenge you, and you'll have either risen to the challenge or you won't.
That's it. I mean, kids want to play really good teams. They don't. I don't want to go into a kid's living room and recruit a kid and say, well, Coach, your schedule last year, wasn't up to par. You didn't play a lot of top 20 teams. And, I'll never want that to happen. Kids come here and play Division I baseball because they want to measure themselves against the best. And, I think East Carolina, they're ranked in the top 15 in some polls, top 10, maybe in a poll here or there. Get them for 3 games. And, obviously Clemson's going to have a really good team. Texas is preseason number 1 in the country, and Coastal Carolina's good every year. Georgia Southern's good every year. I mean, we like you said, our league is really good at the top. UNC Wilmington's got everybody back. They got a really, really good team. Northeastern, they got 2 first-rounders in their starting rotation. They come here in late March, and that's going to be a heck of a series. And they're the preseason favorite in our conference. And JMU's got a kid named Chase DeLauder that might go. He could be 1-1. He could be the first pick in the first round. Definitely a top 10 pick. One of the top pro prospects in the Cape Cod League last summer, and he hits in the middle of our lineup. One of the better college hitters I've ever seen at any level. So I think we get it. We don't get a fair shake sometimes, but I can tell you the top 4 or 5 teams in our league can beat anybody on any given day. And I think College of Charleston over the years has proven that, and so is UNC Wilmington. I mean, they've gone to a number of places and won some huge games. So, like you said, the schedule is challenging. We're excited about the schedule, excited about the opportunities, and hopefully we'll play at a high level so we can match some of those teams that we're playing.
In terms of just pure talent there, I mean, you just listed some of your guys, some of Northeastern's guys, JMU. I mean, have you in the CAA or at this level been a part of a league that has that much high-end elite talent in that league? It seems like it's more than most mid-major or higher leagues.
Well, I am biased because it is the league that we play in, but the Brooks Baldwin kid at UNC Wilmington's a heck of a player. He's the preseason conference player of the year over a kid that's going to go in the first 5 to 10 picks of the draft at JMU. So, and not much is spoken about Brooks, but a heck of a player. Wilmington has 3 legit guys that could play anywhere at any time. I mean, ACC, SEC, Pac, it doesn't matter. I mean, they have a catcher that's really, really good. They have a center fielder that's as athletic as any kid that you'll see on any college baseball field. And then the Brooks Baldwin, the Baldwin kid, is preseason player of the year. Northeastern's got some guys, like I just said, that had phenomenal Cape League seasons and, projected. One's a first team preseason All-American pitcher that we'll probably see on Friday or Saturday when they come down here. And it's unfair in some regards that we sometimes our league, and it's not fair per se. They don't, nationally, it's not looked at as a strong league top to bottom. Well, that's doing a disservice for the top 5 or 6 in the league, here or there, because there's some really talented kids. But there's talented kids, on what the pundits say, are predicted to finish lower in the league too. So it's I don't think we get the recognition we deserve, but we got to go out there and earn it as well. And I think most of our coaches do know that.
Yeah, to your point, the DeLauder kid, just pulled it up because I didn't know much about him. I do now. Perfect game, ranked number 1, perfect game, preseason top 150 college draft board. That's unbelievable. Wow. And he'll be coming to Patriots Point, so you'll get a Ty Good DeLauder Friday night, maybe. He's a starter, right?
Yeah, we might. He might be one of those guys we intentionally walk with the bases empty. Just put him on. Just put him on. He's impressive. I mean, if there is a kid, I guess Buck Showalter at one time walked Barry Bonds with the bases loaded. Yep. I don't know if you remember that, but
I do.
That would be one of those kids that would have that respect. That you might see somebody walk them when the baseball rules tell you shouldn't walk anybody. They might put him on anyway. We get Chase and JMU comes down here. Northeastern comes down here. East Carolina's got a left-handed pitcher that's supposed to be a first-rounder. He's coming down here, so we got our hands full for sure. And, but it's going to be a lot of fun too.
Hey, we'll let you go on this. I meant to ask you earlier. I'm not really sure how it worked out, but the Clemson CFC game later on in the season got moved to Columbia, being played at Segra Park. What was behind that?
Well, it's a lot of different factors, and one of the biggest factors is honestly, it gives us a chance to play a game in the Midlands. And we have a pretty good alumni base. We have some people on our board of directors, board of trustees that makes it easy for them to come see us play. We do have some big alumni events when we play in Columbia that have been great, hugely successful to our school in the games that we've played there in the past. We played South Carolina there. We played Clemson there. We've been able to have some impactful events around that game for our school. Also, it helps a little bit from a travel standpoint, for Monty, I think with what he's got coming up on the weekend. And obviously Monty's a former alumni here. When we were going to play Clemson, it was going to be a struggle from a travel logistics standpoint to get them to come all the way to Charleston. And Monty just, we kind of just talked together one day and just said, well, could we meet halfway? And so it helps Clemson. It helps us. It helps our school. It helps us host some really cool events. And, and it helps our players play in one of the top pro facilities in the country. And so it's a heck of an experience for them too. We would love to play Clemson here, and hopefully in the future we'll get them at Patriots Point. I know Monty wants to come down here. This year it just seemed like the smart thing to do, and that's what we're going to do this May. And it'll be May 10th, I believe, and the great weather. It'd be warm. School's out, exams are over, and we get to play Clemson in a professional in a pro baseball park, and that's going to be a lot of fun for our players. And it's always fun tangling with Clemson because they always have a really, really good team.
Yeah, it's going to be fan. We'll talk to Monty on Thursday here on our program, so that'll be absolutely fantastic. Well, I told you 20 minutes. Only kept you for 20 minutes longer than that. So really appreciate you sitting here chatting with us. Now, I just want you to give Miss Sweet Jennifer a heads up now, because Carrie and I have already made a pact. We were talking to Tony Skoll. Oh no, did he hang up?
He hung up.
Oh no. Yeah, I told he said, oh, 20 minutes over.
Yeah.
Here, you get him back, because I want to make sure that I tell him this. This is personal.
Yeah.
To me.
It sounds like a really, really important thing you're about to say.
This is a very personal conversation. Yeah. By the way, again, if you missed it, we do have. If you have the app, you didn't miss it because you got the push notification. But
we got him.
You got him. You got it. Okay. All right. Look, I got to finish this with you. All right. So this is one of my favorite stories to tell, and you've heard it before, but it's still funny to me. So you let your sweet wife, Miss Jennifer, know that payback is coming this spring, because Carrie and I have already decided, hey, look, the kids are about to be 3. We can kind of adjust some things. We're going to get them out. I want to get them on to as many baseball parks as I can get them to. They love running the bases and all that. But I remember in 2009, the years were a little bit older, up there in Greenville, North Carolina, when the Gamecocks were in the regional, and Cooper and Reese walked up to me and Jonathan Ratledge and said, hey, would you like a sucker? And I said, sure, buddy. And he handed me a sucker, and he said, that'll be 50 cents. So I said, well, now wait a second. I don't have any money to give. All right. So we gave him a couple of bucks for a couple of suckers. So I've been training the kids. You walk through, you find the Holbrooks and anybody that's around them, you offer them a lollipop, but you make sure you get a couple bucks for it. All right.
We'll pay you back for sure. We'll pay those beautiful girls back for sure. Don't worry about it. Send them to the dugout. I might have more than a couple bucks for them. As long as they bring me more than one blow pop, we'll even out the deal.
No, yeah. Now that was one of the funny. I was laughing. Jennifer, she said, I am so sorry. I said, oh God, are you kidding me? This is great. This is hilarious. So it was, that was awesome.
Cooper's beautiful when it comes to those kinds of things. He will, that's only a few, you would be shocked. I mean, you would be shocked at some of the things Cooper had done in his time at South Carolina or even North Carolina. He's done some beautiful things, bless his heart. Like he'd run into the dugout and find a ball laying somewhere, and then run up in the stands and tell some fan it was a foul ball, and he called it. I mean, so he's got that little business niche covered. He's not afraid to ask, for sure.
Hey, good for him. It's the NIL era. He might make a bunch of money when he gets up there.
He's already told Billy Hall that, and Halls is opening up a place in Nashville, and he's like, hey, since you're opening a place in Nashville, I got to get an NIL deal. I mean, we got to get this going. He's already asked him that. That's the beautiful thing about Coop. He's always thinking ahead.
Dude, if I could get an NIL deal, Halls would be the first place I'd try to go get an NIL deal.
That's right. Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
As long as you're not letting him go up there and shack up with PD, he's going to be okay. But I don't think you want him living that lifestyle. He needs to play baseball.
Yeah, that's and Coop loves music. He's pretty dang good guitar player too. So we're gonna have to guard against that.
Hey,
sure. But,
did you again, Coach? You and I, we sit here and talk forever. Did you see that Rodney Scott is going in with Eric Church and opening the bar up there on Broadway?
I saw that. How about that? That'd be awesome or what? I mean, it's really, really cool. I mean, really, really cool. A lot of cool things happening in Nashville. Some of my favorite people up there, and it's going to be really cool for me to go up and visit a lot and see my kid up in college, and I get to go visit those spots. And from Halls to the barbecue place at Eric Church and Ronnie Scott's opening, that's really going to be really, really, really awesome. And Josh Hewitt's a local musician here that's moved to Nashville that I really love, and he plays at all the honky tonks too and does such a great job, and he's so much fun to watch and listen to as well. So it's there's a lot of familiar faces in Nashville, and I can't wait to visit there from time to time when Coop gets there.
Hey, look, man, thank you. I'm sorry we kept you for so long, but we just love talking to you, not just about baseball, but everything. Give your family our best. I really can't wait to see you soon. I'm going to get the girls out there the first couple weekends of the year, game one day, and we'll come down and chat with you when we get there. Okay.
Please do. Come join me for breakfast one day. Don't. Anytime you're hungry and want to meet me at Page's, you know I'll be there.
Oh man, that was I tell you, that's still, since the last time we did that, that's the best breakfast I've had. You don't have to ask me. You don't have to. I appreciate you asking me, but maybe I don't. That just give me some extra oomph. I'll get over there. I'll get over there and see you.
All right, come on, see us. All right,
see you,
bye-bye.
Coach.
Thanks for
See
having me
you.
on, guys.
There you go. There you go. Chad Holbrook, just one of the neatest dudes out there. The head baseball coach at the College of Charleston, and Darren, he's as good of a baseball coach as he is. He's just an outstanding human being, and glad to call him a friend. And you can tell he's better on the air than we are. So one day we just need to just get him in here to be a third co-host for us.
He's very natural. Very natural. I didn't know either. I think it was Craig that I just popped up a comment there. Yeah, that didn't know he played guitar. Obviously he does, because he's obviously big in it. So he's multi-dimensional Chad over here.
Yeah, dude, he's when he just mentioned that we had met for breakfast. I don't know, it's probably been a couple months now, and you'd think we just sat there to talk baseball, and we sat there for like 2 hours or more, and we barely talked baseball. All we talked about was music and just a bunch of other stuff, and he's a huge music guy and knows everybody. And so, yeah, it's always good to have Coach on. They're going to have a good team this year, too. That's going to be a fun team to watch. They've got arms. He mentioned that back in the fall. It's kind of some off-the-record stuff, but it was, hey, let's kind of wait and see what we look like in the spring before we really start tooting that horn. And I think he feels better about it here in early February even than he did a couple of months ago. So it's going to be exciting over there at Patriots Point. Again, some of the highlights of the schedule: they will open the season at 1:00 next Friday against Wagner at Patriots Point. It's a 3-game set before traveling to Clemson for a midweek on February the 22nd to take on Monty Lee and the Tigers. We all know Monty Lee is a Cougar himself, so he loves playing this series every year when they can. And then you got Siena, PC, High Point, Penn, UMass Lowell. No disrespect to any of those teams, but then you get to the meat of it there, and it is a heck of a run, Darren. As he mentioned, you got Texas coming in on a Tuesday, and then you got East Carolina coming in for a 3-game set. They go to Georgia Southern, and we all know what it is in Statesboro every year as far as baseball goes. And then the preseason CAA favorites, Northeastern, will make the trip to Patriots Point. That is an incredible stretch before they go up the road to Charlotte to take on UNC Charlotte. A really good program there as well. And then they've got a bunch of games against the Citadel and Coastal Carolina, Clemson, 3-game set against CSU the rest of the year. So certainly a lot of in-state ties, and wish them all the best. So looking forward to seeing some Cougar baseball. Monty Lee will join us at 12:30 on Thursday to talk about the Tigers. And then next week, we've got Tony Skoll and Mark Kingston both joining us as well. And so really looking forward to that. By the way, a little programming note. We're kind of trying to work out the details here. But if any of you have listened to our program the last couple of years or watched it, and personally speaking, but prior to that, when I was with ESPN in Charleston, I had Skylar Meade on my show every week during baseball season with the Gamecocks. And looks like to this point, we're going to get Scott Wingo here on the JB and Goldwater show every week this year to fuss and discuss Gamecock baseball, and God only knows what else was got. So that'll be a lot of fun for those that are excited to hear from him. He's a super human being who was coached by Chad Holbrook, as a matter of fact, when they won the national championship. So looking forward to that.
This time we're always good, so those will be good.
Those are, it's great, and I know we got to go. We got Pat DiMarco coming up at 1:20. But I'll say, Darren, you've been around baseball in this state for well over 20 years now, and I've done it a long time. We have just the best people, and I say that so full-heartedly when I mean it. These guys, if you're a Carolina fan, I get it. You hate Clemson, but I can tell you firsthand account that Monty Lee is one of the finest people to ever roam the face of the earth, and Chad and Tony and Mark and all these guys, they're just wonderful people, and I pull for all of them. I hope they all do really well, and I hope they're all incredibly successful. Okay, it is 12:58. Time for a timeout, the national anthem. When we come back, we'll dip back into some hoops, and then we'll welcome the Gamecocks assistant football coach, Pat DiMarco, right here on the JB and Goldwater Show.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right, we take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle. And we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity financed a new loan, subject to lender approval.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work. And two others you probably don't think much about: stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
You hear me talk about Dog and Duck all the time, and there's no other place I'm going to watch my college and NFL than the Dog and Duck. They have 3 locations: Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road. They have specials all football season long, like $12 pitchers of their own D2 brew, $5 pints of Sierra Nevada, weekly pick'em sheets with prizes, and the best wings in town, bar none. For all your football, college, and NFL, the Dog and Duck, Clements Ferry Road, Bell Hall, and Park West.
Hi, I'm Chris Half, Public Information Officer at the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum. We're home of the mighty USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, Flamagore, and Vietnam experience. And we're a proud partner of the JB and Goldwater Show. We invite you and your family to come see us and enjoy a day on Charleston Harbor. Visit patriotspoint.org for more information. And now, it is my honor to present the National Anthem.
Live, loud, and online.
All right, final hour on a Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back to the JB and Goldwater Show, presented by Motley Rice and driven by Stokes Volkswagen, stokesvw.com. Make sure you have downloaded the JB and Goldwater app. Guys, I
and rate it. Download it, rate it. 5 stars.
Yeah, that's right. Except for the Google people, because they're probably not happy right now.
They're one.
I'll have to check in on what's going on with that. There's nothing wrong with the app. They probably are just maybe sending a test run or something through, but it will be shortly. I see a couple of guys over there said that they've had some issues on that front with the Droid, so it's just probably not fully available yet, even though from what I understand it, the email kind of said it was, but we'll get it figured out. I'm not worried. If you have Apple and you haven't downloaded the app, then you can't watch or listen to our show anymore. So turn us off and go find some other doofus somewhere to get you through your workday. But you need to download the app and you need to tell 3 people about it. And then those 3 people need to tell. This is a pyramid scheme. All right. You download it, you tell 3 people, they tell 3 people, they tell 3 people. And hi, Meredith Taylor.
We're at like 12.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Eventually, you're telling 30 people. Meredith knows everybody. So hi, Meredith.
By the way, Scott Glaze, congratulations. Engaged over the weekend.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
I don't know. Yes. Scott Glaze is now engaged.
Okay. It's going to be interesting in here on Thursday. Darren, we should have warned him. He doesn't know what he's doing to himself. Pat DiMarco ahead in about 15 minutes tonight. There is pretty good college basketball going on. I'm going to get into South Carolina and Kentucky in just a minute. But Darren, I'll let you kind of take charge from here. I would caution people, or not caution people, but I would encourage people at 7 o'clock on Carolina and Kentucky are on ESPN. I would encourage those to keep an eye on ESPN2 as well, because Auburn is at Arkansas tonight, and Auburn is a 2-point favorite. Arkansas is playing really good basketball, boys and girls. They're 7-3 in the league. They're 18-5 overall. They're starting to kind of turn into that Arkansas team that we thought they'd be. And they've had a lot of fans sitting outside of the ballpark for the last couple of days, the ballpark, the arena, the gym, whatever. Here comes mighty Auburn, right? They haven't lost a game since they dropped one to UConn way back in, I think it was early December. And they won something crazy, like 19 in a row. But their last 2 trips on the road in the SEC, although wins, have been by combined 3 points. They just beat Georgia by 2, and they only beat Missouri by 1. And neither one of those programs are at the top of the league. Arkansas is. Darren, does Auburn go down tonight?
No. So I spent a good bit of time looking at that game too. I think one of the big reasons here, there's a trend with Jabari Smith, who's one of the most talented players in the country. When he is coming off of a poor performance, he has a bounce back performance. That has happened 3 times this year. When he's been held below 10, he's bounced back with nearly a double-double and pushing about 20 points. If that's where he is, and the 2 similarities in what you just mentioned with Auburn, they tend to play down to their competition as much as they play up to them. And I think Arkansas right now is somewhat of a little bit of an enigma. They've won 8 straight, I believe, right? It's they've won 8 straight since they started 0-3 in the SEC. But they haven't gone through the SEC gauntlet. They've beaten Mississippi State. They've beaten Vanderbilt. They've beaten LSU when the LSU was on its downslide. They still have to play Auburn. They still have to play Alabama. They still have to play Kentucky. They still have to play Tennessee twice. I get the love for this Arkansas team. I get it. I think they're very good. I think Auburn bounces back from a poor performance, and I think Jabari Smith helps, and I think they win, and I think they cover that relatively easily. I think that's in the 5-6 point range.
Yeah, the end of the schedule for Arkansas is where you're going to get your money's worth with the Razorbacks, Darren, because after Auburn, they will go to Alabama, and it is tough to go win in Coleman Coliseum, although the Tide just 4-6 in the league this year, and then they're at Missouri, and then here you go. Tennessee at Florida, Kentucky, LSU at Tennessee. That's how Arkansas is gonna finish the SEC slate. So they're gonna have every chance to prove it, and we'll see what happens tonight as they welcome the Auburn Tigers and Bruce Pearl to town. I think he's gonna have a shirt on, so that'll be good. Elsewhere across the country, it is a really neat slate. Marquette is at UConn in a top 25 matchup at 6:30 on Fox Sports 1. Wisconsin is at Michigan State. That's a 14-17 matchup there. Badgers 14th in the country, 7 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. State's a 4-point favorite in the game. Villanova, careful, they're at St. John's tonight at 8:30 on Fox Sports 1. St. John's is certainly upset-minded in that one. The Big Ten's a great one at 9 o'clock tonight, following Kentucky and South Carolina, which we're about to circle back to.
Penn State, Michigan, right? Penn State, Michigan.
Yeah. Darren, it's basketball season. No,
yes, I know.
No, 13th ranked Illinois is at 3rd ranked Purdue, as you well know. Purdue is a team very capable of winning the national championship this year. And they're 6-point favorites tonight at Mackey. Again, that's a 9 o'clock tip immediately following the Cats and the Cocks on ESPN. And then, late night, St. Mary's is only a 2-point favorite at Santa Clara. So if you're going to be up and you want to check that one out at 11 o'clock on ESPNU. And UCLA is at Stanford tonight. Some think that there's reason to keep an eye on that one. 7.5-point favorites are the Bruins there on the road in Maples Pavilion. So here's your top 25 slate.
Yeah, I would lean Stanford there. Haven't played that one yet. I am leaning Illinois, and I'll say that with this caveat. I do think, as of today, Purdue would be my pick to win the national championship. I've said that before. I love watching Purdue play. It's pretty. Purdue is that game will have the main TV tonight, and Penn State, Michigan will not be on the main TV. It'll be on, but it won't be on the main TV. I think Coburn has a great day, and I think he keeps Illinois in that game. They're the one team in the Big Ten that can at least body up a little bit on the inside with Purdue. I think Purdue wins the game. I think Illinois keeps it pretty close.
Okay. That's from Betting Tips with Darren Goldwater. Darren, I don't know how you'd bet this one. You already threw out a couple of interesting facts pertaining to the Wildcats and the Gamecocks tonight. The latest line actually has it down now to 10.5. The Kentucky team comes in winners of 4 straight, playing some pretty darn good basketball. Their only loss in their last 9 is against Auburn, and that game was on the road in Auburn, an 80-71 victory in favor of the Tigers. Carolina, as we know, they've been reeling, and they have won 2 straight in the series against Kentucky inside of Colonial Life Arena. That's a great stat. I saw that was put out this morning. I think John Rothstein did it nationally. Derek Scott has already discussed that, and I'm sure that's going to be a talking point pregame tonight on the Gamecock Radio Network. I'll say this again, and I said it yesterday. Look, I know I personally have taken some heat from some folks throughout the season, specifically over the last couple of weeks when the Gamecocks won 3 in a row, about getting, maybe a little bit too excited. I wasn't really getting too excited. It was just more along the lines of giving them credit because they were doing some things that typical Frank Martin teams that are doing well or starting to do well do. And since then, though, they don't deserve that credit because it's fallen apart. So, in a call it like you see it moment, tonight doesn't feel great for South Carolina at all, to be honest. But they got to go play the game first. Here's my biggest fear. I know you can get into the point spread and all that type of stuff in a minute. This is my biggest fear simply from a nonsensical surface point of view, basically. Shouldn't matter inside of the locker room, but this is what could happen. All right. Had the Gamecocks beaten Tennessee, tonight would be a special atmosphere at Colonial Life Arena. But this program is hanging in the balance, not week to week, day to day, game to game, almost possession to possession. Fans are frustrated. There's some apathy inside the base, but there's always enthusiasm to want to see their basketball program be successful. However, they haven't been the last couple of games, and it's not like Tennessee just, they got them at the end. No, they beat the crap out of them in the second half, and South Carolina looked like a JV squad. It was not good. And so my fear is that tonight on national television, this is going to be a palm or a face in palm moment for a lot of the fans, where they turn on the television set and they see that not many Gamecock supporters showed up and a lot of blue shirts showed up, and then embarrassed it on national television at 7 o'clock in your own gym, and it looks and sounds like Rupp Arena. And that goes beyond basketball. That's where people, and I'm not predicting this. I'm just saying that's my biggest fear going into the game tonight, is that people will be so frustrated and so hot because it will be personal. It's like, not only did they beat us, they took over our gym again, and you didn't hide the game on the SEC network or on ESPNU or at 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock primetime ESPN. The whole country saw it right there. 4,000 Wildcat fans in blue shirts embarrassing us, chanting "Go Big Blue" in Colonial Life Arena, and we can't compete. That's a dagger to the soul is what it is, and that's where people start to kind of spew out a bunch of crazy stuff. So I hope it doesn't happen, but that's my biggest fear going into the game tonight.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start there. It can happen. Obviously,
absolutely.
Obviously, that can happen. There is a very clear-cut way that can happen. And so I texted you this morning that I'll present two sides: why Kentucky will cover the 11, and how or if South Carolina can get inside of that. I'm not going to sit here and dance around. Is South Carolina going to win? Look, if you're inside of 11, then you're playing pretty well, and maybe there's a chance of that. So Tshiebwe is a big problem. The inside for Kentucky has a huge advantage over a weak spot for South Carolina right now. If South Carolina is not efficient offensively, they're going to run into this buzzsaw of a defense that doesn't turn you over too much, but they don't give up anything. They're brutally tough to just find good shots. I mean, the efficiency against this defense is really, really low. So if you're missing shots, you're not getting second chance opportunities, then you're allowing Kentucky to go set the tempo, and which they wanted to be actually a touch slower than South Carolina, but you don't want them controlling every aspect of this game. The way South Carolina stays in this game is they play under control, efficient offense, and that scares me. And then defensively, how are you going to match up with Tshiebwe on the inside? Because we've seen the latest trends with South Carolina is just getting torched in the middle, and now you're facing maybe the best big guy in the country and certainly the best rebounder in the country. And I haven't even touched on anyone else Kentucky has. So that's, if it gets going that way, it could go that way and go that way hard. If you want some hope, here's your hope. Kentucky's last 4 SEC wins have been by an average of 6 points. They're 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 SEC games, and they're 3-5 against the spread on the road. So, is there a chance that Kentucky does not play up to their level? They haven't been playing up to the level I think they're perceived to be, including by me. Yeah, that can happen. And if that happens, South Carolina better be on their game offensively, because then they'll have a chance. But if they're not, then it's just going to let Kentucky run away.
Yeah, look, I could be dead wrong on this. This is going to be surprising to many of you. I've been wrong about things before. My wife's never been wrong about anything, by the way. But one name is every time I think about this game, there's only one name that comes to mind. Jermaine Couisnard. No, I'm talking about from South Carolina side. Jermaine Couisnard. If Jermaine Couisnard is if he shows up tonight and he is Jermaine Couisnard on the juice, on steroids, basically, Carolina's going to have a chance to hang around because everything else around him will be better. If he is Jermaine Couisnard, if he's average, they lose. If he's bad, they get the crap beat out of him. This is not the game, Darren, where I think Jacoby Wright is the point guard of the future. This ain't going to be Jacoby Wright's night. Again, I've been wrong before, rarely, but it might be. It's not going to be Devin Carter's night. Anybody downstairs that can get it done, Josh Gray being limited at best is not good for South Carolina. But anybody else down there, Wilson, Levesque, they're going to go as Jermaine Couisnard goes tonight. Keyshawn Bryant, he's going to go as Jermaine Couisnard. So if Jermaine's engine is running and it's running full throttle, Carolina got a chance to hang in the ball game. All right, crazy things have happened against Kentucky in Columbia because I've been there for a lot of them. But if he's not, it's not going to happen. So here's to hoping that Jermaine Couisnard, Jermaine, if you're watching, cheers. Have a hell of a night, and And go get them, my friend. I'm not predicting that they win or lose or anything like that. I hope that they win. I really do. And I am not I'm not going to get into any type of conversation right now at all about what happens if they lose. Is it time for a coaching change and this, that, and the other? Not going down that road. Talk about the basketball game and what do they need to do to win. And Darren, it is literally Jermaine Couisnard. He had a shot a few years ago to beat him in this building, 81-78. And Mike Morgan literally blew the mic out when he was calling it on ESPN. He's going to have to be that good again tonight.
You're right, because this game has a lot of dudes wearing blue, and there aren't that many dudes wearing Gamecock uniforms. You need your guys. You need your studs to play well. You need them to play well, even more importantly, when the rest of the team is like, oh, my God, look at the talent on this floor. You need stabilizing forces. If those veterans aren't that tonight,
yeah. Yeah, you can't, Kentucky can beat you with youth. You can't beat Kentucky with youth.
Their youth is not youth. I mean, it's youth in terms of a number. Yeah.
They're called dudes. That's what they're called.
Yep.
Certainly looking forward to it tonight. Again, 7:00 tip on ESPN. For any of you heavy drinkers, hide the liquor. It's only Tuesday, remember. All right, coming up on the other side of the break, it's our good buddy, Gamecock assistant football coach, Pat DiMarco. Talkin Ball with Pat DiMarco right here on the JB and Goldwater Show. Right here in our backyard is Motley Rice LLC, a law firm that hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for South Carolinians who were injured while traveling by plane or bus, harmed by medical drugs and devices, or burdened by dangerous auto recalls, including Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. We are honored to have Motley Rice as a sponsor for the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show.
At Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, families walk in the footsteps of our nation's heroes, the brave ones who risk their lives to defend our way of life. Home to the aircraft carrier USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, and the USS Clamagore, there's more than 1 million square feet of exhibit space to roam. White Glove certified, we have several new health safety measures in place to enhance the visitor experience. Come for the day and leave feeling inspired. One of the most impressive museums in the country, located right here in Mount Pleasant. Visit patriotspoint.org for more. We'll see you soon.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work, and two others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
This is Scott Glaze, head golf professional at the Links at Stono Ferry, located on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inviting you to tee it up on one of the most scenic and challenging courses in the Lowcountry. Our back nine is highlighted with 3 holes that border the Intercoastal Waterway. Visit stonoferrygolf.com to book tee times and discover all that Stono Ferry has to offer. The Links at Stono Ferry is a former South Carolina Golf Course of the Year and is also home to the College of Charleston men's and women's golf teams. Come see us. We would love to have you. stonoferrygolf.com.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Okay, what's going on today, huh? Anything to talk about?
All right, greetings and a good Monday afternoon. Greetings and a good Tuesday afternoon. Greetings and a good Wednesday afternoon, and welcome aboard. All right, greetings and a good Thursday afternoon. Greetings and a good Friday afternoon, and welcome aboard. All right, 1:23 Tuesday afternoon. It's a dreary, cold, kind of nasty day, but that's all right. There's better weather on the way. Right here on the JB and Goldwater Show is our good buddy. No, he's everybody's good buddy. He is the great Pat DiMarco with South Carolina football. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on again.
Always. All right. So you get through signing day. Shane says, all right, everybody take some time. You flew to Arizona to play golf. How'd you play?
Not as good as I'd wished, but I was in good company and had a blast. The weather was good. I just lost too many golf balls personally. That is my only regrets on the trip.
What's the handicap here?
I was about to say, hold on now.
I handicapped my 3 index. So I think most of the courses are pretty tough out there. So I think I was like a 6 or 7 course handicap out there.
Yeah.
And I think my low round was 82 and my high round was 86. So did not play as well as I could have.
Did not perform.
Do you ever do you ever get into a spot on the course where you're like, damn, what do I do here? And then take a picture of it or a video and send it to your Uncle Chris?
No, because he would say, why didn't you hit the ball in the fairway? Just hit it straight and you won't have that problem.
Yeah. Simple answer.
He's a pro. I mean, that's what pros do, right? I mean, just that sounds like Coach Spurrier. Coach, what do I do here? Well, don't do that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see it.
Oh gosh, yeah, I was about to say, don't sandbag us with your poor golf stories. We all know that you can play, but I mean, I think Shane has said it before. Once you become, not Steve now, Steve never lost his touch, I understand, but everybody else, once you start coaching ball, that game starts to slip a little bit, dude.
Kids and coaching, they're kind of detrimental to your golf game.
Yeah.
You don't have 5 hours once a week to go out there and play golf and enjoy. You don't get to practice it. You just squeeze it in when you can.
Yep, that's exactly right. I know. I was talking to Soup about this not too long ago. Pat, I said, he said, hey man, we need to go play golf. We'll get Flint to come. I said, well, Flint, I don't really want him playing. He can drive the cart until he's had his 9th beer, and then I'll drive it. But we can't figure it out because every time I try to do it, Charlotte's got him tied down with the kids. Every time he tries to do it, my wife never has me tied down with the kids. But I just have man things going on, so we can't do that.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out.
Team, I usually get there about 5 minutes before tee time. I hit 2 drivers, roll 2 putts, and hit 2 little chips, and then I'm on the first tee. There's not much preparation to it.
No, not at all. All right, Pat. Well, there's a lot of preparation that goes into Gamecock football. At least we hope there is, because if there's not, then it won't be good. First of all, you've been coming on with us for the last couple of weeks for a little while, and want to thank Coach Fink and Coach Fink and Coach Beamer for letting you do that. It's very, very kind of them. We know that y'all have busy schedules. And so I really, really appreciate the Gamecocks for letting us and our audience get to enjoy you for a few minutes every couple of weeks, Pat. Last week.
It's been a cool little thing.
Yeah, it's been a blast, man. Look, when you and I kind of first started talking about this, I told you, obviously I want people to get to know you, but Darren and I do the best that we can to try to remove ourselves from the conversation. We want our audience members to learn and to be able to hear y'all, and maybe they'll. I always joke about it, but I'm actually partly serious, and I'll pick on Craig because he's one of the best listeners and audience members we have here, and Craig knows I'm not being personal with him, but maybe Craig, when he gets in the stands and starts cussing out players and coaches this fall, he'll have learned something from you, and he won't say as many cuss words, and that's kind of our goal around here.
That's awesome. That's a great perspective to have in this. I mean, it's just just try to pour knowledge and encourage the university and all the everything that goes into it, because it's a lot. I mean, it takes an army to get the football team to prepare and play well, and it takes an army to support the football team as well when it comes to the fan base and everything like that. So this university is grateful for fans for shows like this that are able to give perspective out there, and just it's been a cool thing to be able just to talk ball with you guys and talk life and stuff like that, and just kind of my experience. It's been really cool. I'm grateful for you guys letting me do this.
Well, man, you're one of the great sons of Gamecock football, and last week a couple of the other ones have now left the program. Guys that you played with in Connor Shaw, a guy that you know very well in Eric Kimry. I know you've known him for a long time. I know you know him as people. I know you know him as players. I know you know them as coaches, Pat. But with that said, they're moving on to the next steps in their lives, and Eric's going to keep coaching up there in Chattanooga at the high school level. And I don't think we've heard officially what Connor's going to do just yet. But tell us what you know about him, and what is the Gamecock program going to miss the most without having Connor and Eric in that building every day?
Yeah, it's been a joy. I mean, these shortened 9 months that I've been here to be kind of reconnected with both of them. Obviously I knew Connor better than Coach Kimry just from our playing days and us staying in close contact. But Kimry's always been supportive of me whenever I've been back around here in Columbia, and he's always reached out. And we have kind of a similar network of friends just through Gamecock football and being letterman here, that we've always had ties with each other. So it was really cool to kind of rekindle those relationships and, to just really strengthen them. And, it really stinks to see both of them go just because they've been such like mentors for me, and they've helped me with the transition from playing to getting into coaching to moving from Atlanta back here to Columbia. They've really been instrumental to both, not just my career and my growth as a football coach, but also to our family. And just the support and the love that they've shared to me, Kirsten, and the kids the last 9 months. Like that stuff's irreplaceable. That's what being a Gamecock is all about. Gamecocks helping Gamecocks. I refer to that to our players a lot when it comes to doing community service work and just supporting your friends and your teammates. So if I'm just so appreciative of both of them. It's going to be different in the building without them. That's for sure. Connor's office was right there kind of when you walk in to go to work. So he was one of the first faces you see and the last faces you see when you get in and out of the building. And just his presence is going to be missed in there. Just, he was QB1, right? He was the GOAT of South Carolina football. So we're going to miss his presence and his leadership and everything he means to this program a lot. Wish him the best, and I know he's going to be super successful in whatever he does, just because of the man he is and how he holds himself and the high standards that he has for himself and his family. So, and then Coach Kimry, he helped me with their training. He was up there, morning and night with me, kind of grinding during season. So we had kind of the ultimate respect for each other and just the hours that we put in and the time and the knowledge of ball. We really, we kind of worked hand in hand, working with the tight ends and running backs, kind of comprehensively to try to make Carolina the best place possible for our players. And we juggled a lot of stuff off each other, so we learned a lot from each other. And we shared a lot of life lessons too, and memories of playing here at Carolina and all that. So it's going to be sad to lose those two Gamecocks here.
One of the things that I think is really interesting nowadays when it comes to coaching, Pat, and you have been in it for a year. So, matter of fact, Pat, you've been at the highest levels of football for pretty much the better half of your life, playing in the SEC, playing for over a decade in the NFL, coming back into the SEC under Coach Beamer and coaching. But things keep changing, and I'm sure that Eric and Connor, they obviously had a heavy taste of this as well. You've got the transfer portal, you've got NIL, you have non-stop recruiting. Shane knows that as well as anybody. You're always recruiting. You're recruiting at dinner. You're recruiting when you wake up. Social media. It's different. And then I think that now coaches more so than in the past, it used to just be about talking ball and coaching ball and stuff like that. But now you're finding out more of your strengths and your weaknesses. Personally speaking, do you feel like you understand your strengths and your weaknesses? And if so, what are they?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people have said, how was your first year coaching ball this year? And I kind of it kind of makes me chuckle when everyone's like, oh, well, you're new to this whole coaching football thing, because I've been at the highest level of football for 16 years of my 32 years life. When it comes to 4 years in college, 10 years of playing, last year, coaching. So I guess it was 15 years. But I've learned a lot along the way. I've learned a lot about the game. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about how to manage people. So, I would say that probably my strong points are, I've been so tuned in with the run game, playing fullback my entire career and everything like that, that I have a very good grasp on the run game and how to attack defenses. I feel like that was an asset that I brought to the table this year here at South Carolina. And also as a running back, you're super tight into the protection and the for the pass protection stuff. So being able to help in different ways to pick up pressures and different ways to know where your hots are coming from, and just there's so many different ways to pick up certain blitzes and certain protections that it's always good to have a big scope on how to attack that. So I was able to bring a different perspective to that from the NFL to the college level. But honestly, I think the biggest asset, or the thing that I'm best at, is just relating to the guys and loving the guys and being a positive influence and a positive voice of reason to them. I've played the game at the highest level for a long time, and as most of you guys know my story, it wasn't easy. I was a 2-star. Everybody said, "Oh, Coach Spurrier did Uncle Chris a favor by offering Patrick the scholarship here to play at South Carolina." And honestly, the first few weeks I was here, I was like, they might be right. Like, they might be right, because guys much bigger and faster and stronger than me. But then we got on the field, and during my 4 years here, as everyone said, coach did a favor for Pat DiMarco. Well, I ended up setting the school record for games played into that point. It's been beaten. Sorry, the dog's going nuts.
Yeah.
But that's been surpassed at this point. But nothing's ever been easy for me. Bo. Sorry, Bo likes to get all fired up a little bit.
Is that his name, or you just call him Bo?
No, it's Bo. He's our 6-year-old golden retriever who he thinks he's a guard dog, but he'll lick you to death if you get anywhere close to us.
Okay, that's awesome.
But just relating to people and kind of overcoming adversity and mentoring, and I was a captain at South Carolina for 2 years of my career. I was a captain for 2 or 3 years in the NFL. I was the NFL player that was voted by my teammates as the NFL player rep. So I understand leadership. I understand how to handle personalities. And also I'm a voice of reason. Like there isn't one way to do anything. There's a million ways to do a lot of things. So I'm very open, and growth is always there as long as you have an open mind and can listen and interpret things. So, so those are, I'm sure I got plenty of flaws too, as some of my coaches and coworkers would probably say too. But those are things that I think I definitely bring to the table.
Pat DiMarco here at 137 on the JB and Goldwater Show. Pat, it's so everything you just described there, and we just referenced how the game has kind of changed a little bit. It's not the old days, right? Of coach walking in your living room and recruiting you to come play football, and then when you get there, he's dogging you around the field, and you don't really communicate much off the field. He's just your coach, and that's what it's going to be. That's the relationship. Like what you just described to me, in my opinion, and I'm not very smart, number one, and I'm not a college football coach, but in my opinion, it sounds like like you might be pretty good on the road, recruiting. If you walk in and you're able to explain those things to parents about how you're going to take care of their kids, and these kids, don't they all tweet about that? Yeah, man, I got me some love this weekend up in Columbia, man. They was loving up on me, stuff like that. Like that, isn't that what you just described?
Yeah, it's an interpersonal relationship, right? When you have somebody playing for you, when you're recruiting somebody, when you're playing next to somebody, whether you're the player for the coach, like it's everything's interpersonal. And and what do they say? The best coaches are the coaches where the players want to play for them the most.
Yeah.
And I think I was super blessed to have some really darn good coaches, especially here at the college level, in Robert Gillespie and Jay Graham, men that really poured their heart and soul not only into me as a player, but to grow as a man and a father and a husband. So I mean, that's the big picture of what college football and coaching is. It's like if you're recruiting somebody, it's telling their parents like, look, I'm gonna get this kid to play the best ball he'll possibly ever play, but I will have failed him if he doesn't leave this university a better man than he was before he came here. So it's just a holistic approach. Like, it's Coach McDermott, when I was with the Buffalo Bills, would always relate the Buffalo Bills organization. He'd always relate the NFL as it was a transactional business. So you're here today, gone tomorrow. It's a revolving door. And he would say, Buffalo, which I agreed with him, and I wholeheartedly believe him, is it's not a transactional business here. It's a transformational business. You're going to come in as one way, and when your time to leave, you're going to leave somewhere else, and you're going to go influence people because of your time here with the Buffalo Bills. So that's kind of the approach that I take to coaching. You really have to pour into these guys. You have to find out what their desires are, what they like, what they don't like. It can't just be a topical relationship because you won't get the most out of them.
Now, you see, I just set you up. I set you up because you just described yourself. Do you want to coach on the field? I mean, you were in an off-field role this year. Do you want to be out there coaching on the field?
I mean, ultimately, yeah. I think that's why everybody gets in this profession is to ultimately have a room and have the effect and to be able to really mentor these guys and coach them up and just pour your knowledge into them. And hopefully at the end of the day, they'll leave better players and better men than they were when they got to the university. So, ultimately, yes. I understand it was my first year coaching in this year, but I've been doing this for a really long time playing wise and being in the locker room and just having influence. I mean, I wouldn't have been voted captains on multiple levels if I didn't have that influence and that passion that my teammates saw in me. So ultimately, yes, I know, but I know I got to kind of pay my due and work my butt off. And that's ultimately what I plan to do until that opportunity does come up.
Gamecocks are lucky to have you. Pat DiMarco, assistant coach right now under Shane Beamer at the University of South Carolina. Pat, I do want to, hit on the team a little bit. How about Spencer Rattler? Have you gotten to know him? What's he look like?
Yeah, he's been there. He got here on Monday of last week. So he's gone through the first full week of workouts, and I'll tell you what, he's going to be a problem for other teams here in the SEC to deal with. He's athletic as can be, and I mean the first thing that jumps off is just his leadership skills. They were doing a workout, and as I was kind of rolling through, I just saw kind of his demeanor and talking to guys like Josh Van and Jaheim Bell and Marshawn Lloyd, and how they're already in the second day that he was here, already starting to create these relationships and generate that trust. And not only that, but it was his second or third day, and he's in there and he's kind of demanding more from these guys, which, I mean, I have the ultimate respect for that, because if you're a leader, you're a leader. You're not a leader sometimes. Like, it doesn't matter your situation. It's just like when I left Atlanta, was a captain with the Atlanta Falcons. I got to Buffalo, and I was the new guy. I was a new guy to them, but I wasn't going to change who I was. I wasn't going to passively go in there and start being like, I was coming in there full speed ahead. Like, hey, this is how we're going to do things. This is how I'm going to lead. This is how I'm going to fit in. Like, this is how I know things are done to be successful. And he's kind of taken that same approach. And I think he's been encouraged to do that as well, because he knows what winning looks like. And he's been given, just from playing the quarterback position and with the talent level and all the blessings that God has given him, he has a platform to go out there, and guys are going to just generally follow him. So I'm really excited about him. He's going to be really fun to watch and really fun to coach up.
Have you what's going on right now? I mean, they're in the winter workouts, or the program is. So what does that look like on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so they do strength and conditioning. Essentially, they get about 2 hours of strength and conditioning in a day.
Wow.
And that's it's up to Coach Day and our strength staff, they've done a great job of developing a program that's, when I was playing, I always got bored with the same program year after year, week after week. And Coach Day has done a great job of being innovative and finding different ways to work certain muscle groups. So you're not necessarily just pounding your head against the wall and doing the same thing week in, week out. You're always changing something up. So your brain's working while your body's working. Your muscles are working in different ways and in different angles. You're doing, they're doing a lot of single leg exercises, and guys are like, why are we doing single leg exercises? And it's like, because when you play football, other than your stance, you're on one foot. Mm-hmm. Like you're running, you're jumping, you're not doing most of it from 2 feet. You're doing most of it from one. You're striking people on one foot, and then your other foot gets on the ground, and then you get in a power position and get on both feet. So it's really cool how he's implementing the football game into the strength and conditioning program. It's not done like that everywhere, and it's been really cool to see how he's kind of evolved it and made it very football central.
That is really, really interesting because, last year, Darren, remember we talked to Coach Day, and one of the things he said to us here was he was trying to implement everyday body movements basically into his training regimen. And, for me, Pat, as you well know, it is not hard to train JB or Darren or Michael Flint to get up from the couch and walk to the liquor cabinet. That's an everyday movement for me. That's easy.
It still hurts my back sometimes.
I'm sure you guys are moving real fast.
Well, initially you are, but then after a while, no, you're not moving fast anymore. More side to side than anything. But with Day, I never knew specifically what that meant, and you really just painted a perfect picture. So all right. So with all that being said, what are coaches looking for? Like, what are they learning right now about the team, about their position groups, about the players individually? I mean, I can't remember. I'm not sure last year, Pat, if you went through all of winter workouts or not, but like, what are coaches like you and Coach Sad and Clayton White and everybody else in the building, Shane? What are you learning about your guys right now?
So the position coaches just got back a little over a week ago from their 2 weeks out on the road. So they were out recruiting, and while they were out recruiting the 10 or the off-field coaches, the non-10, were kind of in the building, and we were doing self-scout on everything. So I was deemed with red zone responsibilities, run game responsibilities, and then like first and second down production. So a good amount of stuff, and we were just diagnosing, like, when we got in the red zone, like whether we scored, whether we kicked a field goal, what stopped us from doing that, and just kind of clarify, like, did we have a penalty? Did we have a drop? Did we have pressure? Where was the breakdown and why we didn't score a touchdown? And how do we match up versus other teams, not only the SEC, but in college football in general? Same thing for kind of our run game stuff. It was, what runs were we good at? What runs do we need to improve on? What were our best sets that allowed us to do runs? What sets do we do different run packages out of? How can we package things to better together next year so that we don't have tendencies? And then the first and second down stuff was just, you always, what every coach wants to do is you want to be ahead of the sticks in third down. You don't want to be in third and long. So we were just doing a study on how do we do on 1st and 10? How do we do on P and 10, which is the first play of every drive when you get the ball? How do we do on 2nd and long, 2nd and medium? Were we able to stay ahead of the sticks? Were we running the ball to do that? Were we passing the ball to do that? So just really diving into the analytics and finding out what we are good at, what we weren't good at, and areas that we can improve. So that's, in a nutshell, my last about month has been that. And it's been really cool, just the different findings you can get from that. It's hectic during season, and you're playing catch up, watching, and doing breakdowns and scouting the opponent of that week. But ultimately, like, what you put on tape, other teams are watching, just like we're watching other teams' tendencies. They're pulling our stuff. So doing self-scouts, periodically throughout the year are super beneficial, just so you can kind of understand what, like, if Coach White's watching the South Carolina Gamecocks offense, what he sees. Yep. Now we see what he sees. So it's cool.
You don't need to go into it. I just wanted to follow up on that. I don't need a specific example, but during the season, it's hard to really self-scout a ton, right? A lot of guys use the bye week and do more of that during the bye week. Was there anything during that period that you, or when you relayed it to other members of the staff and you guys talked about it, really jumped off the page? It's like, wow, like that's something we need to clean up.
I would say without giving too much information, some of the big stuff that jumped off was just how we identified some fronts when blocking the run game. I think the first half of the year we struggled with, at times maybe we did too many motions and too much movement, so that, when the center and the guard and the offensive line is making their calls on who the double team's going up to, who we're booking on the backside, when you start motioning, there's different people adding to the box. There's movement. The defensive end goes from a 5 technique to a 7 technique. The shade goes from a shade to a 2-eye, and the Sam linebacker goes from on the ball to off the ball, and it just messes with the number count. So we realized that if we're going to do that motion stuff, that it needs to be done. It needs to be set to give us a clear identification and give us like 2 or 3 seconds for the calls to get relayed before we snap the ball. That was just a big thing that really jumped off, because we mis-ID'd a lot of stuff, and that ended up in 3-4 yard losses, and it's really hard to make up for that on first and second down.
Well, Pat DiMarco with the Gamecocks. I know we've kept you for a long time, but you don't have anything else to do, so why not? I'm just kidding, dude. Pat, with winter workouts going on right now, and I'm just speaking from the public side here. So we don't see that outside of a Justin King video here or there, maybe, or some creep grabbing a pair of binoculars and ducking in behind a fence. We don't get to see anything. No. So speaking to the general public, how will we be able to judge the things that we see in the future from the things that we don't see now?
I would say the biggest difference, just from when I got here spring ball last year to winter workouts right now, is just the desire for these guys to be great. I feel like last year they just kind of were unsure on how to, like, what it looked like and what it took. And then, going from a 2-8 season to a 6-6 season, like, you get a little taste of success. And then you have to sit back and you have to watch the college football playoffs, and then you watch the NFL playoffs, and you sit back and you're like, dang, that's what greatness looks like. That's what getting over the hump looks like. That's what we ultimately want to be. And I think that's kind of sparked a fire in a lot of them, especially the upperclassmen leaders that only have a year or 2 left. Like, I think that these guys are there from a mental standpoint, that they're ready to sustain the success and ready to push themselves to levels that they've never been pushed before. And they're starting to, I think, ultimately hold each other accountable. And I've seen, just walking through the weight room and just being down in the dining hall at times, like, you can see when an older guy sees a younger guy coming in late, like, that's getting handled by the leadership in the locker room. That's not getting handled by Coach Beamer or the coaching staff. Like, that's squashed before it even comes upstairs, which is ultimately what a team is, and hold your teammates accountable. That's what true success looks like. So these guys are primed to have a really cool, fun year, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Do you see are there any similarities to when you were playing here? You were part of the change of Gamecock football under Steve Spurrier. Your final year, you went to the SEC title game in 2010, but prior to that, you could feel it begin to tilt a little bit for a more successful future for the Gamecocks. Do you see any similarities now that you're back here in 2022, but you're on staff comparatively to what you went through as a player back then?
Yeah, I think, ultimately there's a trillion good players out there. Like, as we go through the recruiting process, there are a number of players that we watch that have certain skill sets. There's so many studs out there. There's so many 3, 4, 5 stars that can come in here and make a difference. but it's really about getting the people here and talking to them on the phone and talking to their high school coaches and talking to their parents and different things to really figure out who the people are. Because ultimately you want people that are wired right to be in your program, especially a place like South Carolina that necessarily isn't going to get 1 million 5-stars, but we're going to get a handful of 4 and we're going to get a lot of like really good 3-stars. So you want to get the right people in the building from a character standpoint. So I would say from when I was here, like bringing in guys like Connor Shaw and TJ Johnson and Cliff Matthews and Travian Robertson and Stephon Gilmore and Devontae Holloman, like we're starting to get young players like that are mature and are wired the right way and want to be great, instead of just, guys that have selfish desires and only think about themselves. We're starting to recruit like the right person, not just the right player, the right person who's a darn good player too. So I'd say that's the biggest shift I see. And that's Coach Beamer. I mean, he recruited all those guys back in the day, so he knows what he's doing.
He knows what it looks like. Yeah. Well, that's it. There you go. Pat DiMarco has just predicted Gamecocks in the 2022 SEC championship game with Spencer Rattler.
I hope you're right.
With Spencer Rattler Garcia at quarterback. Hey, look, before we let you go, I have to. There is no chance I'm going to let you get off the. You do have to give us a quick Super Bowl preview, but before we get there, so you played in the Pro Bowl back in 2015. As far as I know, you are one of. Oh, Pat, I got to do the numbers again, but not many all-time Gamecocks to ever play in a Pro Bowl. And there's, Stephon and Alshon have done it, and Sterling, John Abraham,
Darian Stewart.
Yeah,
there's probably more than you think.
Yeah, there's
like 30 or 40 of us.
Probably, but comparatively, the Gamecocks have put a ton of players in the NFL. I know some they don't think that, but they have. But you're part of an elite group, and being a Pro Bowler is elite. But Pat, watching the game sucks, dude. Walk me through your experience a few years ago, and should they even play the game, or should they just let you go out there and play cornhole? Should they just acknowledge you as a Pro Bowler? What do you think?
That's funny you say that. I remember. So I'm wired different. I'm kind of a weirdo, as you guys can already tell just by hearing me talk and everything. But I went out there and I was like gearing up. I'm like, sweet, it's another game, another chance for me to impose my will on somebody. And the night I get out there, like I see everyone walking around with coolers and drinks in their hand, and I'm like, we got meetings in like 7 hours. I'm like, what are these guys doing? And I'm realizing that it's a celebration of the season. But just a funny little story. So Kirsten, my wife, she was 37 or 38 weeks pregnant, the Pro Bowl that year with Weston. So she wasn't able to come. So I actually flew out to Hawaii by myself for the first 3 or 4 nights. And then my parents met me out there for the tail end of the trip. And one of the second night I went down there, I was down there with me and Devontae Freeman. We were really close from Atlanta, and we're down there, and Jameis Winston kind of comes and starts hanging out with us, and he kind of befriends me, and we start buddying around for the next 2 or 3 days. Jameis is an incredible human being. But during the game, I think it was the second or third quarter, and in the middle of the huddle, we're sitting there in Hawaii, and Jameis is like, Pat, how many carries did you have last year in front of the whole offensive huddle? And I'm like, I think 2. And he goes, cool, we're going to top that on this drive. And he ran fullback dive 3 plays in a row to get me more touches in the Pro Bowl in one drive than I had carries throughout the whole entire 2015 season. But on the very first one, we ran fullback belly, and I rolled it back, and Cliff Averill was squeezing off the backside, and I kind of dropped the shoulder on him and bounced off him. I think I ran for about 10 or 11 yards. And I remember when I got tackled, I went to get up, and Cliff Averill was kind of standing over me, and he gave me his hand to help me up. And he goes, "Is this your first Pro Bowl?" Yeah. And I was like, "Yep." And he goes, "Chill the F down." I was like, all right. So that's my little Pro Bowl story. So I was like, all right, this is the game that we're playing.
So it's just, so what you're telling me is, look, man, this is just an opportunity for all of us to have a good time and get out there and goof off. And you don't have to watch it if you don't want to watch it, basically.
Exactly. I mean, it's a cool event. Like, they do stuff for the families all throughout the week. I mean, it's really a celebration of guys having a successful season, and it's an honor too, to be celebrated and everything like that. I mean, I remember when we ended up winning the Pro Bowl that year, and I mean, we made double the money if you won the Pro Bowl versus if you just went to the Pro Bowl. So there are incentives, and to some of the most competitive people in the world playing in that game. But it's don't get hurt primarily. Yeah. That's the main goal. Is have fun, don't embarrass yourself, and don't get hurt.
I mean, isn't that the spring game now in college football?
I guess to a point, yeah. But I mean, I think there's a lot of like the bottom edge of the rosters in the spring game are trying to prove themselves and earn a spot. So to a point, I guess for the starters, it's a little bit of that. But for the guys that are borderline, am I going to be a special teams player? Am I going to ride the bench? Am I going to improve a spot on offense or defense? I mean, as a coach, we definitely take all that into consideration in the evaluation process.
All right, Pat. I know we're pretty much past due time here, but they are going to play that Super Bowl.
I always got time for y'all.
You and Chad Holbrook, man, we just need to have y'all. We had him on in the first hour. We just need to have y'all on every day. This would be fantastic.
All your listeners would be so tired of listening to me.
They get much more tired of listening to me, my friend. You're a breath of fresh air. They are going to play that Super Bowl on Sunday. That's the that big game in the NFL. So it's Stafford and the Rams and Burrow and the Bengals, just pretty much like everybody drew it up before the season started. This is what it was going to look like, Pat. Do you have a Super Bowl breakdown for? I mean, Darren's a big bettor, so he's going to bet on all the prop stuff and all that junk.
Not too many props, but there'll be some.
Oh no, he's gonna.
But I got a good lean on the game, whether or not I'm right.
Darren, hey, don't listen to him. He's been watching national anthems for like 3 weeks to try to figure out whether he should go over or under on the time. Do you have a Super Bowl breakdown? Are you having a Super Bowl party? If you are, am I invited? Can I bring kids or not?
So Weston turned 6 next Wednesday. So we're actually this weekend we're having all the grandparents in before we do the friend celebration next week. So Weston's getting 2 birthday parties.
Nice.
One this weekend and the one next weekend. This weekend's with all the family. So I think I'm gonna smoke 2 Boston butts on the grill, and we're gonna hang out and watch the game. We'll probably do some family squares to keep it interesting. But Weston, since one of my really good buddies who lives in Atlanta is Clint Bowling, who played offensive line for Georgia, and he played for the Bengals for 8 years. And so we were real close when I lived in Atlanta, and Weston really liked Mr. Clint. So Weston is like, it's the Buffalo Bills, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Cincinnati Bengals are his 3 teams. So he's been pulling for the Bengals all year. So like, it's been pretty cool for him to see this and be able to follow them. I think it's hard to bet against the Rams right now. I mean, I think they just have a loaded roster, and I think they have an older roster, guys that have played in probably more playoff games than the Bengals. The Bengals haven't been the hottest team in the last 3 or 4 years. So, I mean, I would, if I was a betting man, which I'm not when it comes to football, I like playing cards and stuff like that, but I would have to go with the Rams. I don't know what the line is or anything like that, so I can't really help you there, but
it's 4.5, but it might be falling. Apparently.
I hope the Bengals win for Weston's sake, but I think the Rams are going to win, and I'm sure Weston might jump shop if the Rams start pulling away, and he'll be like, "Yeah, go Rams!" A little 6-year-old.
Is this a low-scoring Super Bowl or a higher-scoring Super Bowl?
Say 48.5.
It's a what?
You said over-under is 48.5?
Yeah, that's where it is right now.
I like the over, personally.
Okay.
I mean, just it was interesting seeing how much success that KC had first half compared to second half. And I think they ended up becoming a little sloppy football towards the end of the game, and then they kind of caught themselves in trouble. But I think that both these offenses are pretty explosive and pretty electric. And I mean, any one of those skill players, they get the ball in their hands, and they could take it to the house. So I imagine it's going to be a pretty explosive, fun game to watch.
I hope it is. I hope it's a fun Super Bowl to watch, obviously, because it's not traditional. And the fact that the Bengals are back in there for the first time in I think 33 years, and the Rams are in there again. I will close with this, Pat. Again, kept you forever, but one way or other, Gamecocks going to get to put a ring on their finger. Elliott Fry is on the roster with the Bengals. Who I know Elliott a little bit. He's a great guy, and then on the flip side, Ernest Jones has had a great rookie year, man, over 60 tackles. And so someone's going to get a ring this weekend. So one way or another, Gamecocks taken care of there. But I am, Pat, you and I, we don't care for Georgia a whole lot, but I do really respect Matthew Stafford, and I loved watching him play the game in the college level, and I certainly have in pro ball, and I'd like to see him get a ring. Burrow's probably going to have a couple chances to get one. But I'd like to see Stafford get one. He's one of the good ones out there. You agree?
He says, yes, I agree.
Yeah. He
All right. Well, sure.
Well, there you go. That's Pat DiMarco. We kept him on long enough. That's okay. His son, probably Weston, hung up the phone. Probably had to go potty for 45 minutes or something.
Got to get ready for the Super Bowl, man, as Bengals are playing.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks to Pat DiMarco and Chad Holbrook for joining us today on the JB and Goldwater Show. It was a lot of fun. Gamecocks tonight trying to hang in there, pull off a major upset against the Wildcats. We'll see. We're going to talk about it all tomorrow. J.C. Sherbert joins us tomorrow. Remember, Monty Lee joins us on Thursday. Looking forward to that. Download the JB and Goldwater app. And we'll see you tomorrow at noon on the JB and Goldwater Show, presented by Molly Rice.